Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Brendan and I'm a recovering accountant. Today we're going to talk about whey protein and specifically the vegan options, because if you're anything like me, as we head into 2021, the chances are you're going to want to improve your fitness, and it's highly likely that you will look into the world of proteins. There are very many to choose from, and if you're here just for the conclusion, I will tell you straight out that this vegan wonder shake by the Protein Works is my favourite, quite possibly the most tasty protein I've had. It's wonderfully smooth, lovely taste, and it goes well with everything. But if you're here for a bit of a review, then let's crack on. So whey protein are one of the key supplements that you've probably seen being advertised, and unless you've been living under a rock, the chances are you've seen it advertised on Instagram or on the internet or on Facebook or wherever it might be. The problem is if you Google whey protein, you will get inundated with a plethora of options, with everybody, whether it be an influencer releasing their own white labelled whey protein or some of the big well-known brands. The chances are you will just have to pick one to try to begin with. But have no fear, that's why I'm here to tell you which I think are the best vegan proteins that I've tried over the last 6 to 9 months. Over the course of the last summer, I went through a transformation. During lockdown, managed to reduce my body fat to about 7%, predominantly through exercising, making sure that I got my nutrition right, and also because I'd chosen and tried a number of whey protein options. Today we're going to talk about a couple of them, one from PhD Nutrition, a couple from the Protein Works, and we'll also just touch on some alternatives from MyProtein and One Nutrition. So with that, let's dive in. Just bear in mind it is a total minefield, and so if you do feel slightly overwhelmed, don't worry, it's natural. And to be quite honest, the best ways to choose a whey protein is to ask a friend for a recommendation or do some research, but unfortunately it is a bit of trial and error, and you may end up picking some that are slightly more chalky and pretty horrible compared to some of the others, but unfortunately that's the way it goes. Before we jump in, a couple of things just to note. As you look through whey proteins, first thing to do is to look at the ingredients. If there are more on there of names that you don't understand or don't recognise or just don't know what they are, try and avoid those. That's often an indicator of things like fillers, which companies use to bulk out their proteins to make you feel fuller, but also to give that whey protein some substance. It's a very simple way of just trying to keep track of what is in a whey protein, because fundamentally the least number of ingredients, the better it should be for you, but also the more number of chemically induced ingredients, probably it's not quite so good for you. So as we go through this, just have a look at the number of ingredients that are in the whey protein that you're about to take, and if you don't know many of the ingredients in there, might be worth having a look at an alternative. Outside of that, just be aware that they come in different sizes. Often it will be a 500 gram, and that could easily be 20 to 25 servings, right up to a 2 kilogram tub or bag, and that will probably keep you going depending on the number of servings that you have for a month or so. Each tub or packet is generally designed for 1 serving per day, but if you read the instructions, the chances are it will say 1 to 2 servings, or however many you need to achieve your protein target. Also, just bearing in mind that a bit like yogurts and other healthy nutrition bars, each of the sugars and each of the ingredients will be different. So one could be a 30 gram serving, another might be a 25 gram serving, and another could be a 50 gram serving. Again, it's not always easy to compare apples with apples. Let's assume that you want to take a whey protein. Where do you start? For me, it was a bit of trial and error. I've always been interested in fitness, and I've followed people whose opinions that I respect. Those include people like Nick Mitchell, Phil Lerney, Mark Coles, amongst others like Charles Poliquin. Following people's advice and guidance who've been in the industry far longer than you and I is a great place to start, and to be honest, that's where I started looking at Reflex Nutrition. Now, Reflex don't particularly do a great vegan protein as it stands at the moment, but it is a great protein to choose, and I will give you a recommendation at the end of one that if you are looking for a non-vegan option, I would recommend that you take that one. So with that, let's dive into the first one. The Protein Works have done one called the Wonder Shake, which has got quad plant technology. What that really means, I'm not entirely sure, but it's basically made up of 4 plant protein ingredients: pea, soy, brown rice and hemp. It does advertise as being 100% vegan, high protein, low sugar, low fat, GMO free, etc, etc. At the time of recording, and we're just going into January 2021, a tub of this is about £26 on offer. It usually retails at about 36. It comes in a 750 gram tub, and that generally gives you about 30 servings. Each scoop, and it comes with a green scoop, gives you 21 grams of protein. So you know what, it's actually not a bad way to go. The taste and texture are great. It's a very fine whey protein, this one, so unlike some that we'll talk about in a moment, which can be chalky and really clumpy, this one mixes in wonderfully. My favourite is to put it in with total yogurt, a little bit of creatine, a little bit of milk, mix it all together, add a couple of blueberries, and you're A for away. In actual fact, this is my favourite, and I have it for breakfast most mornings. It is a bit more expensive, and generally if you want to have more than one scoop a day, it can mean that you'll get through potentially more than one tub. I've tried the double chocolate and the hazelnut, and I would highly recommend those. So the Protein Works, the Vegan Wonder Shake, big thumbs up from me. An alternative from the Protein Works is one called Vegan Extreme, and that is currently selling for £12 for 500 grams. It gives you 29 grams of protein within 130 calories. It is good. It's quite filling. It does mix in well with milk and water, but it doesn't quite have the smoothness of the Wonder Shake. It is a good alternative and comes in a big tab, so you can easily get it into a 2 kilogram bag. But sometimes it can be a bit lumpy, but also if you do mix it in with something like Greek yogurt, it will add a bit more bulk to it, so just be aware that it will make you feel slightly fuller than perhaps the Wonder Shake. It is a good alternative, and you know what, it won't cost the earth, so potentially a good way to go to see whether you like it. It does come in a variety of flavours, everything from vanilla extreme up to double chocolate. That's one thing that the Protein Works do is give you a great variety of flavours. How they do it, goodness only knows. But so, the two that you could choose from the Protein Works are the Wonder Shake and the Vegan Extreme. Second company I just want to talk through is PhD Nutrition, the Smart Plant Protein. Now this one is the salted caramel brand. I bought it specifically to make brownies, as advertised by Ross Edgley. He talks about cheesecakes and brownies, and to be honest, this was delicious. I'm not a massive fan of it when it comes to the shakes and having it for breakfast, but in terms of using it to create other foods, and it gives you the recipes on the back, then I would highly recommend it. This gives you 21 grams of plant protein. It comes in a 500 gram bag, and the salted caramel flavour is highly recommended. You will have 97 calories per scoop, and per 25 gram serving, it will give you 21 grams of protein. So the Smart Plant Protein is the vegan option for the PhD range. It does also come with a Smart Protein range. It can be a little bit more expensive. As it stands at the moment in January 2020, as I mentioned earlier, it's currently on offer for £14 per 500 bags. So if you're going to use one scoop a day, it will last you just under a month. I'm sure there are offers out there where it means you can buy one, get another for a discount, or alternatively, just buy two, pay for two. See how that works. At this point, I also just want to point out that there is a slight alternative that I've been trying of late. Keto collagen protein from the Protein Works. This is a keto focused protein, very, very thin, very fine, also comes in a slightly smaller tub, so this is 25 gram servings of a 325 gram tub. It is free from gluten, soy, sugar and any GMO ingredients, but it does focus on the coconut MCTs and collagen peptides. Collagen protein has a slightly different effect on the body, and it usually fits in with the keto diet. So if you're looking at a high protein, high fat diet and wanting to keep your carbohydrates to a minimum, this might also be an option. I've added this to the Wonder Shake in the past, and it actually goes pretty well because it is 10 grams of protein per 3 scoops, so the scoops are very small. It is only 40 calories per 10 grams, so it's actually pretty good. It is higher in the fats because it is a collagen based protein, then that's the difference. This one, highly recommend if you are on a keto diet. I think it's pretty tasty. It comes in a vanilla flavour, so feel free to add it to a shake or to a breakfast or however you like to take your protein. So one just to bear in mind. A couple of other recommendations to think about. One is MyProtein. You may have seen that advertised on the internet. Generally retails for about £12 for 500 grams. In the past, I've not particularly got on well with it because it has been quite chalky and a bit lumpy when having it with milk or water. Again, it comes down to personal preference. They do have a variety of flavours, but again, it's not one that I particularly got on with. The second one to think about is bulk powders. This retails for £22 for a kilogram bag, and they have a great range of flavours in their vegan proteins. Again, it's a little bit like trying to pin the tail on the donkey. What works for me won't necessarily work for you. Some companies are better at deriving the flavours than others, and really it's a choice down to what you like best. If you're looking for a non-vegan brand, I would highly recommend Reflex Nutrition. This was originally recommended by Nick Mitchell. In days gone by, I've really enjoyed using their protein. I found it really satisfying. I felt the flavours were really good. It mixed in really well. It's very fine. And to be quite honest, it's got some really, really good reviews. Again, it is down to personal preference. I did look at it and think, actually, how does it go? But it can be a little bit more expensive. There is also one called the 3D protein from Reflex, which I would highly recommend. That was probably my favourite, but it can be a bit more dear. About £55 per tub, but it does have 3 proteins, a fast, slow and a medium, releasing one, and so it focuses on a slightly different element. They are the non-vegan ones, so just have a look at those. So in conclusion, if you were to choose a vegan protein, there are many different brands to choose from, but for me, the winner is the Vegan Wonder Shake by the Protein Works. Comes in many different flavours, quite possibly the tastiest, mixes in really well, it's very fine, big fan and a big thumbs up from me. And that's it. It's really about finding the right protein for you, and some of it is down to trial and error. Please don't ever pay full price for any proteins. There is always a discount code, so do have a look. Might need to check out Join Honey or just do a bit of a search on the internet, but please don't pay full price because there is always a discount code somewhere. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. Please do nudge the like button and also click subscribe. Make sure that the little bell wobbles because that means that you will get the content the moment it's released. Do comment and let me know what your favourite protein is, or if you're a bit stuck, please ask a question and I'll happily let you know. But with that, I will wish you a good day, good luck on your protein journey, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.